Look closely at the world's oldest families and you'll see a strange continuity. Not in faces, not in names, but in symbols. A shield, a lion, a hand grasping arrows. These aren't ornaments, they're operating systems. Centuries before branding existed, the elite carved their philosophy into iconography. A family crest wasn't decoration, it was declaration. It said, "This bloodline stands for something." Every colour had a meaning, every line a boundary. The crest was a visual oath that survived when men did not. Most modern families have lost this instinct. Your ancestors might have had a crest buried in records or forgotten archives. But for most, the lineage broke before the lesson did. That identity, once formalised, creates gravity. Old money families knew this. And so they built a code of honour, of behaviour, of aesthetics around their mark. This is the story of those marks. Why they were born, what they meant, and how to make one. Not for show, but for legacy. To understand why these symbols endure, we have to return to when they meant survival, to the banners carried into battle and the families who carved identity from war. The battlefield origins. Crests began in chaos. In the fog of medieval war, armour hid faces. A knight needed a way to be recognised, not just by his allies, but by history itself. So he painted symbols on his shield. The lion for courage, the serpent for wisdom, the tree for endurance, the cross for faith. Over time, these practical signals became psychological ones. A son bore his father's mark, a grandson refined it. Heraldry became hereditary, and the battlefield became a mirror of bloodlines. Each symbol had rules. Heraldic law. Gold represented generosity, blue truth and loyalty, red warrior's strength, black constancy and discipline, silver purity. A knight's shield became his resume. When he fell, chroniclers recorded his symbol beside his deeds. Identity and virtue became inseparable. Out of that chaos rose names that still echo. Henry the Lion was one of the first to wear his values as armour. Quite literally. Henry the Lion and the birth of meaning. In the 12th century, Henry the Lion, Duke of Bavaria and Saxony, rode into a losing battle. His banner fell into the mud. The crest, the very emblem of his family, was trampled by hooves and blood. He dismounted, raised it himself, and shouted, "A crest means nothing without the heart that bears it." His men rallied. They won. From that day on, the lion wasn't just his name. It was his proof. That's the first truth of heraldry. Symbols don't make men, men make symbols. The mark is earned in action, not drawn in gold. But not every crest was born from war. Some were inked in marble halls and ledger books. The Medici, the Colonna, where gold and genius replaced steel. The Medici and the Dove of Mercy. If Henry's lion was about conquest, the Medici dove was about control. The Medici family rose in Florence not as soldiers, but as bankers, shaping empires through ledgers instead of swords. Their crest, 6 red spheres on a field of gold, coins representing wealth and circulation. But as they rose to political dominance, they added a dove holding an olive branch. Legend says Giovanni di Bicci de' Medici, founder of the dynasty, once uncovered a rival's betrayal. Rather than destroy the man, he doubled his credit line and said, "The dove feeds better than the hawk." That mercy cemented their reign more than any war ever could. From that day, Florence associated the Medici not with greed, but with grace. The meaning of their crest evolved. Wealth used without wisdom corrupts. Wealth used with mercy commands. That's the second truth. Real power controls itself. But not every crest was born from war. Some were inked in marble halls and ledger books, the Medici, the Colonna, where gold and genius replaced steel. The Colonna and the fire that stands in Rome, the Colonna family faced ruin. Their palaces burned during a civil uprising. Their rivals assumed the dynasty was finished. But the Colonna rebuilt. Larger, grander, bolder. Their new crest depicted a marble column crowned by flame. It meant one thing: you can burn the house, but not the pillar. Their name, Colonna, literally meant column. So the fire became a symbol of purification, destruction that reveals endurance. Every Colonna child grew up walking beneath that flaming pillar carved into their estate's entrance. It whispered, "Fall as many times as you must, so long as you rise again." That's the third truth. Lineages survive not through protection, but rebirth. What each of these crests shared wasn't colour or creature, it was code. A secret grammar of authority, written in lions, crowns, and quiet confidence. The Rothschilds and the industrial heraldry. Fast forward 6 centuries. The world is no longer ruled by swords, but by capital. Yet the great banking houses still obeyed the old heraldic law, consciously or not. The Rothschild crest is one of the most striking examples of modern heraldry. At its centre, a raised arm clutches 5 arrows, bound together. Each arrow represents one of Meyer Amschel Rothschild's 5 sons, each sent to a different European capital to build a financial outpost. Bound, they signify unity through distance. The family's real empire wasn't land, but coordination. The crest's motto: Concordia, Integritas, Industria. Harmony, integrity, industry. 3 virtues: moral, spiritual, and practical. The shield's blue and red bands signify trust and power. The gold background, generosity and wealth. Every deal, every treaty, every empire the Rothschilds financed, from railways to governments, carried the invisible stamp of those 3 words. Their crest wasn't on the front page, but it was in the foundation stones of the modern world. That's the 4th truth. Modern power still speaks heraldry. It just uses new fonts. And though Europe perfected its heraldry, the instinct spread far wider, from Japanese mon to West African adinkra. Cultures naming themselves in pattern and form. Across the world, symbols of legacy. Europe wasn't alone in encoding meaning into marks. In Japan, the samurai mon performed the same function as a crest. Simple black and white emblems, plum blossoms, cranes, or 3 triangles forming a mountain. The Tokugawa clan's mon, the triple hollyhock, became the seal of the shogunate itself. It meant continuity, harmony, and governance through restraint. In West Africa, tribal scarification and royal fabrics served a similar role. Patterns on the skin or the loom told stories of lineage, virtue, and role. Adinkra symbols from the Ashanti, like Sankofa, the bird looking backward, taught, return and retrieve wisdom from the past. The lesson is universal. Civilizations may differ, but legacy always seeks a language. That's the 5th truth. Identity is power written in code. Wondering how are these crests made? The silent laws behind crests reveals much. The laws of a crest. Heraldry had rules, not superstition, but structure. And those rules still apply to modern legacy building. Meaning precedes design. You earn your colours through your values. Ask, what would you protect at cost? Every element represents a virtue. A lion equals courage. A dove equals mercy. A column equals endurance. Arrows equals unity. A fire equals renewal. Symbols require witnesses. A crest is validated not by design but by behaviour seen and repeated. That's how memory hardens into myth. Every generation must reforge the meaning. The symbol dies if the virtue is forgotten. Old money isn't money. It's meaning preserved through conduct. That's the sixth truth. Without practice, a crest is just paint. If you look close, you'll see the same psychology that makes up a family's crest used by corporations to influence and gain attention. The modern echoes. Logos as lineage. Look around you. Every corporation is playing the same game. The Apple logo, bitten but whole. Knowledge and temptation. Rolls-Royce's monogram. Double initials, double prestige. Ferrari's horse, motion, speed, ego. These are not new ideas. They're crests in disguise. Corporate branding is heraldry reborn through capitalism. The difference is spiritual. Old crests represented what a family was. Modern logos represent what a company sells. But the pattern is the same. Identity, recognition, loyalty, continuity. That's the seventh truth. In a world of noise, symbols still speak fastest. What does a family without a crest look like? How do you compete in a world full of noise against houses that maintain this level of discipline through generations? The absence of a crest. Most people have no crest because they have no code. They live by convenience, not conviction. They inherit nothing but debt, of memory, of honour, of discipline. Ask the average person what their family stands for, and they'll give you hobbies, not history. But principles are what carry through centuries. When your forefathers stopped naming virtues, your lineage stopped moving. It's not tragedy, it's amnesia. That's the eighth truth. Without a declared identity, even freedom dissolves. All is not lost, and the time is now to start building the story, the symbols, the body of knowledge that will see your family through the coming generations. Here's how. How to reclaim a standard. If your family has no crest, make one. Start with a single word that feels heavier than all the others. Honour, creation, temperance, continuity, truth. Then choose a symbol that matches it. A lion for courage, an olive branch for forgiveness, a column for resilience, arrows for unity. Sketch it, etch it, print it, but most importantly, live it. Because a crest doesn't exist to remind the world who you are. It exists to remind you who to become. That's the ninth truth. Symbols demand obedience from those who bear them. In building and pondering the values and symbols that will make up your crest, don't fret about lost time. There is one secret old money knows. Continuity is king. The final standard. Here's the paradox. You don't need nobility to build legacy. You need continuity. And continuity starts with definition. Every family that ever mattered made a choice to turn their life into language. The old crests weren't relics. They were contracts, agreements between the living and the unborn, between what was built and what must be guarded. So make yours. Choose your virtue. Seal it in colour, line, and act. And when you falter, remember, you're not just protecting a mark, you're protecting the idea that men can outlive themselves through meaning. Because in the end, a crest isn't a design, it's a discipline. And the families that survive the centuries are the ones who never stop earning the right to carry theirs.